Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric here, Iraq Veteran 8888. Finally getting back to cutting some content in the studio. And yes, guys, we got some more range videos on the way. Lots of stuff going on. I've been taking a little bit of a sabbatical to get some work in on the house and take care of some things in my personal life. So I apologize for, cutting back on the content a little bit, but I do want to get back to making content because there's so many freaking things that are going on in the Second Amendment community and just in general in the world. Lots of things going on to talk about. We have brought LLP back, y'all, so make sure you check out our podcast. It goes live every Monday. So Matt and I have been picking the LLP show back up. So I appreciate you guys that are tuning in and checking that out. But we do have a lot of content to get on, and without further ado, we'll go ahead and roll into what's going on. You guys know that the House last night, in a razor-thin 215 to 214 vote, passed the Hearing Protection Act. Before we get too much further, I do want to give a quick shout-out to our friends at Undertac. Okay, we've been working with these guys on, sponsorship and everything like that. They are a great group of people. They make some awesome EDC shirts. They've got underwear, socks, all sorts of gear. This stuff is tested by special forces and high-end military elite members in South Africa. I mean, these guys are really putting this gear through its paces. They've got their Ranger breeches, their infantry breeches, like really high-end underwear. If you use the code LLP20 at undertac.com, you get 20% off site-wide. So go show Undertac some love. They've done a great job of supporting the channel through all this, and they're a big supporter of the LLP podcast. It would mean a lot to me if you're looking for some new underwear or socks. I got some awesome merino wool socks that are super great, antimicrobial. If you're needing some high-end gear for your next hike or your EDC shirts and things like that, check out undertac.com. Use the code LLP20 and get 20% off, and I would appreciate if you support those guys. Great group of people over there. So HPA is going to the Senate now, and this is the point that we can apply pressure to the Senate to include more expanded language in the bill that we want to see, such as what you notice that the gun rights organizations such as GOA and Second Amendment Foundation, NRA, and all these different gun rights organizations, NAGR, Dudley and the guys over there, what they're really putting in language-wise is they're saying short-barreled firearms. You notice that they're not saying short-barreled rifle, short-barreled shotgun, because they're getting a catch-all phrase that they're trying to really put in here that just covers really anything that can launch a bullet, right? We want short-barreled rifles, short-barreled shotguns, AOWs, all of those sorts of things completely removed from the NFA. So this is the time right now that you guys can call all of your representatives, call your senators, and make sure you're letting your voice be heard. Let them know that you want to see the expanded language of HPA make it through the Senate. So there's still time to add this language into the bill so that when it hits the floor, it's already passed the original HPA in terms of having the tax stamp removed and the registration. So originally what the talks were sort of going about here was that, well, they were going to remove the $200 registration fee, but then still require the registration of the actual item. Now, as HPA is made through the House and a razor-thin vote, as I said, they've now included the registration out of there as well. Okay, so that's good. That means essentially that we're talking about getting suppressors off the NFA completely. It'll just be an over-the-counter firearms transaction, just like a 4473. You buy a gun and they put the can on there. You go buy your favorite pistol with a threaded barrel. You go buy your favorite suppressor, and guess what? They put the suppressor on the 4473 just like the freaking gun, and you do whatever paperwork, and you leave with your suppressor right then and there, and you don't have to pay a $200 tax stamp to do it, and you don't have to ask permission to do it, which is a huge step forward. This is probably one of the most significant movements in the 2A community that we've seen probably in our lifetimes in terms of actually reeling back some of the unconstitutional stipulations that are required under the unconstitutional NFA. Now, NFA went through Congress, okay? It was passed through Congress. So, this isn't like some fiat law, like, the sort of, let's just say, statutory rulemaking process that the ATF was using, right? This is more of actually, hey, this went through Congress and was passed by Congress. Now, was it unconstitutional? Yes. Should it have not been passed by Congress? Yes, but it was. And then, of course, what we saw with the Bruin decision, that greatly clipped the wings of these types of bills. I mean, so the thing is, you had the Bruin decision, but then you also had that Chevron deference ruling that the Supreme Court came up with. So that essentially clipped the wings of all administrative rulemaking fiat that could ever be, talked about. And without going down the crazy rabbit hole of conspiracy and debauchery, all right, there has always been some great scrutiny, put forth against Biden's cognitive ability, and especially in the last few years of his presidency. And there's been talks of rubber stamping a lot of things. There's been talks of auto pinning a lot of things, okay, in terms of bills, executive orders, you name it, agreements, treaties, whatever the heck a president can sign. There's been rumors, of course, unsubstantiated rumors, but likely true, that there was a lot of rubber stamping going on in the Biden administration. So with the Bruin decision and the ruling on Chevron deference, that greatly changes the landscape of how this stuff is going to be handled, not to mention the increased scrutiny that the Trump administration seems to be putting on the FBI and the ATF and the DOJ, which we've yet to see anything happen with the Epstein list, and we haven't seen too many people get, arrested there yet. But I still have my hopes that at least they're trying to draw the reins in as much as they can. I'm going to be doing a future video talking about some things the ATF has actually pulled back on. That'll be a future video, though. Right now, we mainly just want to get the word out about HPA going to the Senate, and we do have an opportunity as a community to come together and really petition the Senate hard to get the short-barreled rifles and short-barreled shotguns taken off of the registry as well. So that means no $200 tax, no registration. You can make all the shorties you want. You can cut down all the shotguns you want. Everything's good. Of course, Democrats and anti-gunners and everyone in between are completely livid about this thing. They are yelling into a giant echo chamber where no one is listening. The appetite for pro-gun legislation has never been stronger, right? We have some really good opportunity to gain some ground on the Second Amendment. And I can think of no better video to come back with, to let people know that this is going on. And a big shout out to all these folks that have been doing such a great job. All the, GOA, NRA. I mean, look, all the gun rights organizations really pitched in and got people to light those switchboards up over at the Means and Ways, committee, and all of the people behind this bill. They really got them to light up those switchboards and get people to call in, okay? And that was you guys. That was the people calling and making their voices heard, of course, through grassroots organization. And that's how these kind of things get done. Pressure works. Pressure creates diamonds. In this case, probably the most important diamond we could ever find. This is the hope diamond, all right? This is not just hope. This is literal reality. Like, I know we've talked for years about having suppressors and short-barreled rifles and short-barreled shotguns taken off of the registry, and this is a good step to getting that done. All right, well, what happens then? What's next, right? Machine guns, okay? We get this out of the way first, then we can have the talk about trying to handle machine guns, okay? We saw the news also that the FRT case was thrown out by Pam Bondi. That's good news, okay? Of course, it didn't have any real constitutional standing from day one. I mean, if you go by the literal definition of the GCA, it's not a machine gun. I mean, when you look at the definitions set forth in the GCA is what it is. It defines what a gun is and what it isn't, and what a machine gun is and what it isn't, and so on and so forth. Okay, it either is or isn't a machine gun. And in the case of the DOJ under Pam Bondi, at least they've came to the conclusion, look, we cannot prosecute on this. We cannot, take this route, because whether the decision was made in the name of trying to prevent a Supreme Court case from coming forth and then bringing the constitutionality of machine guns into question, or because they just realized it was not worth pursuing, and under the current political stratum, they were trying to take an easy out that would sort of calm down some of their Second Amendment constituents. Who knows what the underlying political motivation was? But hey, we'll take it any day of the week, won't we? Okay, so FRTs are back. So there's been some really good movement on the Second Amendment, and we have to keep that energy up. So I want to make this video and also tell you guys thanks for all the support. I mean, things have just been going so great. Life is good. I'm happy. I'm lifting. I'm making gains. I'm living healthy. I'm eating better. I'm not smoking or drinking, any of that bull crap. Life has been good. And, I owe a lot of that to my viewers and my supporters all these years. I've worked very hard to get where I am, and I do appreciate those of you that have stuck around and supported me all these years. And I have so much content to make. Look, I'm going to show you something here real quick. This is literally the list of videos, right? I mean, I've got a whole page and a half of videos that I'm working on and a whole page of podcasts. So yes, I'm writing it down. Look at this, even more. I mean, I've got like 35 videos that I need to cut. And so I've got a lot of great content on the way. I'm really eager to get back into filming on the regular and making some things happen. So I appreciate you guys being patient and understanding as I've been going through some changes in my life and some changes of lifestyle. Not that I have to explain to anybody, but I do feel like you guys, a lot of y'all have been there for me for a long time. I've been doing this almost 16 years now, so it's been a long time. And it's always fun to reminisce and kind of think back on all the things I've done on this channel. And I want that energy to stay there. I want to keep it going. I've got so many crazy things I want to show you guys. Lots of new guns, armor reviews. Gosh, so many topics, reloading, just tons of things here I've got written down that I can't wait to get back to. So I appreciate you being patient with me, y'all. Got many more videos on the way. I hope you guys all have a great day. We'll see you soon.